You know, guys, I found something out really interesting today. Did you know that people who aren't Nintendo make video games? It's really weird. I didn't know that. Good morning, gaming brethren. Today we are here to talk about the Death Stranding reveal date trailer thing that happened today. It is currently 5/29/19, and hopefully by the time you're watching this, it is not too long after that. The trailer came out today. It is interesting, and I wanted to talk about it. Normally, I usually talk about Nintendo junk on this channel, as you can see, like right there. Anyways, Death Stranding. We've known about this game for 2 years now. I think it's been in development. Honestly, I knew it was a Kojima game, so I knew it was gonna be like good, but I wasn't sure how hyped to get. Yeah, I've never really played like a Metal Gear or any of his other stuff, so I was just kind of going off, it's a Kojima game, so it must be good. And we didn't know much about the plot or gameplay or anything until this trailer, where, I mean, there are certainly questions, and it's not exactly a clear image of this is what the game is, but it does clear some things up, and we do get a look at some combat and some just general gameplay, and it is dope. I've watched this trailer like 2 or 3 times already, but this time I'm walking it through with you, my fellow viewers, my fellow friends, my fellow Americans. Unless you aren't watching in America, in which case, welcome from wherever you are in the world. Anyways, it starts off as, you know, any good trailer does, you know, a baby. There's a fucking baby head thing. We've seen this in a lot of the other trailers, but now we learn what purpose the baby serves. What is it? So it's like a little tube baby thing. I think that's actually the first time we saw it. It was in like a little chamber or whatever, which was really weird. We get this shot of, I think, like the main villain, and he's like singing to the baby and saying everything's gonna be alright, which is weird and creepy and neat. The first really interesting thing pops up like a second after he's done singing to the baby. Let me try and find it. Yeah, we get a shot of this like photograph of Norman Reedus, his character, along with some older woman and another lady who appears to be his wife. Her face is like smudged out and she looks pregnant, so that's interesting, especially since this game has to do with these fucking babies who can do something. They show it off in the trailer, like kind of what they do. We still don't know, but they're there for a purpose. And I'll get into my theory later, but yeah, we get the shot and it's a little backstory. Oh, actually, that lady in the back, I think she's revealed to be the President of the United States later in this video. I think she's like bald in the next part, but you can see like the American flag in like the window, so I'm pretty sure that's her. Next shot we get of a fucking sick, tight motorcycle. Fucking sick, dude. For real, this motorcycle looks really dope. I think any game that has a fucking motorcycle is like automatically the coolest. Yeah, I'm excited to use that. Explore the world, which looks freaking gorgeous in this trailer. You see the shot of a bird dying, which to be honest is like the most normal thing in the trailer. Alright, they also confirmed that yes, this does take place in America, and you know, this lady says like the famous line, like help us reconnect, which is I think like the theme of this game, just like helping people reconnect. Kojima put out a tweet, which I'll read out later, but that kind of it like clarifies things more. Then we get this shot of, I think it's the president in the hospital bed in the Oval Office, and Norman Reedus standing beside her. So we don't really know what their affiliation is and why he is so close to her. I'm assuming he like worked for the government before the world kind of went to shit. But I don't really know. Oh yeah, this is the best line in the whole trailer. You're the president of jack shit. So good. But yeah, I think that's what clued us into her being president, along with her being in the fucking Oval Office. But you know, context clues. We also get the first like fucking guitar riff and shit. And the music in this game is gonna be so good. Everything. If you haven't seen this trailer yet, you definitely should. I'll link it in the description. It is fantastic. It is so good. It is. It's a little long, but I think that's part of the reason I like it, to be honest. Because we don't know anything, and I want to see as much as possible to like try and understand. Because I know I'm never gonna fully understand. Even after beating the fucking game, it'll probably end with some weird philosophical ending where Norman Reedus actually is the baby or something, I don't know. Then we get a couple of shots of Norman Reedus, his character, walking through a bunch of different environments. Like you see like just a normal grassland and like him walking through like a destroyed building and some snow. So that's neat. We're gonna get some environments. It's not just gonna be, I think the problem with a lot of apocalyptic games, which I'm pretty sure this is like the apocalypse. A lot of games like that, like Fallout and stuff, are all just like desert or like the same shade of brown everywhere. And sure, that's probably what it would be like in real life, but also, it's boring as fuck, and you should use your imagination and make these crazy snowlands and these, you know, maybe have one area that's like a really intense desert, but also have green lands that are like mutated or something, I don't know. Stop making your games look boring as shit. We also get the shot of like how you use items and stuff, and you see like Norman Reedus' character pull out like this big ass ladder, and he like sets it up and then it falls. And it's not that cool, but it's also super cool because I don't know, the physics of the way the ladder falls and it perfectly lands on this like photorealistic mossy rock. Like, I don't know. That's just so cool to me. I feel like in most games, it's like you can only put the ladder here and here, and those are your options. And if you put it anywhere else, it'll freak out, and then when you get on the ladder, it'll go sending into orbit. We also get introduced in the next part to the like, I guess, main bad guys. They're called like homo demons or something, which is kind of funny name. But they're like basically terrorists, I think, is how they describe them. They wear like these gold masks, and they can like teleport. They look kind of, or their powers are kind of similar to that one thing at the beginning of Metal Gear 5. I didn't play very much Metal Gear 5, so there's that. But there was like a fire demon thing, and it was like teleporting around, and that's kind of similar to how this works. And they're some freaky dudes. In the next shot, we see some gameplay of Norman Reedus running around when this like orange beam thing kind of like targets him, and it like creates like a after image of his backpack, and then he starts like sneaking around in the grass when like the homo demon people come in, and I guess they're trying to find him, presumably, I'm guessing, because he has the baby, and that's probably going to be some sort of important thing that they need. So he's sneaking around, and they're like trying to hit him with like electric spears or whatever, and it's pretty intense. But then we get to see the first look at the combat, which is, from this we see him using his fists, you know, fucking hand-to-hand combat, which looks real cool, real fun. It's probably just gonna be mashing X, but it still looks so cool. And I presume you can probably like steal their weapons and shit, which would be so dope. This next part is very, very interesting. So, after he gets chased by the evil terrorist group or whatever, they like do like this, they're like hold, and then they run away because of something called BTs, which are those demons which we saw in the other trailers, which are like these creepy shadowed, they're heartless, they're basically heartless. And you hear some dialogue of Norman Reedus saying like, oh, that's the one thing, like, I can't fight or whatever, like, I can't defend against BTs. And then this other dude's like, that's why we have these, and it's a clip of the baby, and he's like, bridge babies, which is what they're called. They're called bridge babies, and apparently, and then he says like, yeah, something something, they connect us to the other side or something, which is interesting. So I think this baby is their connection to like the underworld or like death, which is interesting, because that's the only meaning I can derive from the other side, unless they call it something different, you know, like high rule and low rule. Of course, I brought it back to fucking Nintendo. You know I did. But yeah, they're like using these babies that I think they have some sort of special power. Also, it seems like there are multiple of these babies that people have, because the way he's phrased it, like a bridge baby, as in there might be multiple, or if not, maybe this is like the last one? I'm not sure. I can't imagine that the bad guy group would be like hunting down him specifically to get his, unless it's some sort of special one. If there are multiple, so I imagine that maybe they're just gone and like this is the last one. But I feel like then they would also say like the bridge baby, because it's the only one left. So I don't really know. I don't know if there's multiple or not, but the way they're phrasing it sounds like there are, or there might have been. I don't know. Then we get some gameplay of when you actually encounter BTs in the game, and your like little backpack receptor thing starts freaking out and like points you in the direction of where they are, so you can like sneak around, and I assume just run away, or like sneak away from them, because they're just kind of standing there all shadow-like. But once they see him like start running and he's like making a lot of noise, they like, the ground starts getting all like weird and like gooey, and then they like pull him into like the black ooze, and it's like really creepy. The next part's quite weird. It's the BTs, but they're in like this more humanoid form, and they're like in a war zone, I think, and they're like, it looks like kind of like World War I. Like it, if you compare this to like the trailer for like Battlefield 1, like they look similar. It's really weird. So my theory is that these BTs might be like, because they're connected to the underworld, and even before this they said stuff, like there was some text about those connected to Hades, and those from the other world or whatever. So I'm assuming these guys are dead, maybe? They're like the ghosts of dead soldiers or something. Because that would explain, like, you know, why they're so demon-like, and why they, why there's this shot of, like, the war. We're also get our, well, not our first look, because we've seen him in other trailers, but, we get a look at, another look at the main bad guy coming out of the black ooze. I forgot what the actor's name is, but this guy is fucking sick, and he does a really good job. Actually, he was at the beginning of this video as well. At the beginning, when you show like the baby, he's like singing to it, and you get like a first-person view from like the baby's perspective. It's weird. It's really cool. I don't know what to think of this. We also get a look at like, I guess, the third-person shooter view. So it's not only melee combat, you also have guns, which was to be expected. It's a Kojima game. He worked on Metal Gear. Of course they were gonna have guns. But they look a little different here. They kind of look Halo-like, at least from the reticle, and just from what we can see. And he's like shooting at the BTs, or I think these are the BTs. They look weird. They're all like shadowy and demony, so they look kind of the same, but they could be different, because I can't imagine that he would just run away from BTs normally, and like, you know, they're like these really scary things when you can just shoot at them. I'm not quite sure. These might be a different creature. Crazy theory, I don't know. And then we get a bunch of clips of all like the characters, followed by, you know, their you know, each individual character with their name and then the actor who's playing them, and you get like a little close-up of who they are. So, Norman Reedus' character is named Sam. I forgot about that. I should probably start calling him Sam instead of fucking Norman Reedus. Something weird I noticed about all these character introductions, most of them are crying during their character introductions, which might be a common theme. I'm not sure how that plays into everything. Maybe it keeps on saying this phrase of like staying connected, and how, you know, at the beginning there was with the president, it was like we need this nation to stay connected, and, you know, staying connected to the underworld, those connected to Hades. A lot of stuff about connections, which I think was also brought up in that Hideo Kojima tweet. Also, we get this really freaky shot of the baby scene that we saw at the beginning and in like a bunch of the other trailers. But this time, it's with like a plastic baby doll, which is really creepy, and it's like eyes fucking up. It is weird. Then there's another interesting line here. Norman Reedus, or his character Sam, is on the ground, and he looks blue, which might just be like lighting or something, I'm not really sure, but I think that's intentional. And there's some dialogue going over about how he needs to go west to something rebuild America, and he says that rebuilding America isn't gonna get rid of the BTs because it will still be there, which is weird. So he says BTs at first, and he says the BTs, plural, will still be there because of it. So the BTs are a source of one thing. Something is causing them to appear there. And until that thing is stopped, there's nothing that's going to be changed. Which is also why we see in the next shot, he like puts a gun to his fucking head. Then they show the logo for the game. And then there's like another 2 minutes of trailer, which is a really weird choice. But boy howdy, we are going to talk about it. Then we get a really interesting line from the main bad guy. I think his name was Cliff. And he comes out of the black ooze goo thing again, but he's in like this military gear and he's holding a gun. And there's some voiceover that goes on, and he says, "It's so hard to make connections when you don't have hands," which is very weird, but also again plays into the theme of making connections. And then he says he's got a good connection with the other side. Now, the other side, the baby connects people to the other side, which also protects them from the BTs. The BTs are probably also from the other side. Also might be dead soldiers, which these guys are soldiers, and he was next to the BTs who were in soldier gear. And this guy, the way he says it, he has a good connection to the other side. So, we've established the other side is probably death, and he has a good connection to it, but he's not dead, as we can see, because the other, the BTs, you can see like they have skulls and like red eyes and shit, but he just says that he has a good connection. So he's not dead, he's like maybe half dead, or just somehow has a power to connect with the evil side, the dead side. I'm not quite sure, but it's interesting. It brings up a lot of questions. Then we get this interesting dialogue from one of the women in the game. I'm not sure, I don't remember who it is, but I think she's gonna play a big role. And she says, again, connections. That's like the big theme of this game. Connections and reconnecting and relationships. And she says humans need connections. They need to have like relationships with people, and without that, you know, we're like nothing. Lastly, we get this interesting thing with the bad guy of the game, similar to the first shot that we saw of him talking to the baby. It's another shot of him talking to the bridge baby, and he says, you know, it's not finished yet, I'll show you later or something. And then he says, the whole world will be yours to explore, which is interesting. That could mean that he knew that these were going to be used for connecting to the other side, and that people were going to need this baby so that it would be passed around a lot. Or it could be that, maybe intentionally, or not intentionally, maybe at first he was going to let the baby out and it was going to be able to just grow up normally and explore the world, but it's not quite, we're not quite sure of if that actually is the case. But that is the end of the trailer, and wow, that is really, really interesting. Like I said before, I wasn't really super keen on this game before. I knew it was gonna probably be good. I knew a lot of people were probably gonna like it, but I didn't really care for it all too much, just because we hadn't seen gameplay, or like we saw like a little bit of gameplay of just him walking. That's it. So this trailer is definitely the one that's made me most excited so far. All this stuff about connections and like the other side, death, kind of explaining what the babies do and like why they are needed, but also like the moral dilemma of like using a baby. Like even Sam says in the trailer, he's like, it always makes me feel weird using these things. Yeah, it's interesting. Again, we still don't know a lot, but we know general themes about like connections and, you know, the other side and all this stuff. It's weird, but I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. I really don't have that much else to say. I just wanted to express how much I'm excited for this game now. It's coming out November 8th, which is interesting. It's pretty neat. That's this year. That's cool. I'm excited. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up on release or not. It really depends on what else is coming out in November, because I have a strong feeling we could be getting like something big from Nintendo that month, like Pokemon or, I don't know, Animal Crossing or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, I am excited. Wanted to talk about it with you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, click that like button. Fuck! If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and perhaps maybe that subscribe button even. I don't know. Maybe you want to subscribe. Maybe you want to see my face more. Let me know what you thought of the trailer. If you've seen it, if you've watched the whole thing without me rambling in between, I'd like to know what you thought. Because I freaking love this trailer. It is amazing. I've seen it like 4 times, probably gonna watch it a 5th time after this video. Wow. So much. Even while recording, there was a lot of stuff that I caught onto, like the lady in the picture actually being the president later in the trailer. Like all that stuff. It was crazy. It's weird. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all later. Peace.